right, guys, we're back again with another great episode of PFREI, a passion for real estate investments. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Today we have with us Jennifer Tucker, a Rockstar Real Estate Agent Academy. So, Jennifer, would you be so kind to share your background with our guests? When did you get started, and the type of real estate that you invest in today?
Sure. Great. Well, thanks, Fuquan, for having me on. I really appreciate having the opportunity to speak in front of your audience. So thank you. Let's see. Well, I've been a licensed real estate agent for the last 8 years, and that's kind of where my story begins in investing. I'm an eternal student, as my mother would call me, and I really believe in getting all the knowledge and the background from the ground up. And that's kind of where it took off, I think, in my own investing. My first investment was my own house. I'm a single mom, so I needed to leverage myself somehow. So I utilized my first purchase in my own home to have a legal two-family, so that I was able to, like I said, leverage myself against times like this that we're kind of in right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the first question I usually ask the guests is, why are you passionate for real estate investing? I mean, you call yourself the Rockstar Real Estate Agent, so there must be some type of passion behind that. So, yeah.
You know, it's a white hot passion, that you got to have in this business. I think in any business, you really got to have a passion for it. I grew up with parents who own their own small business, and I believe that's where my entrepreneurial kind of spirit has begun and kicked off. My mom's also been in the business for 30 years, and I saw how prosperous she was in her own real estate dealings and her own investments as well. And, I had some trauma in my life happen at one time. My background is in education. After I received my graduate degree, did the typical society thing, got married, had a baby. I had some trauma where my daughter's father was involved in a serious car accident, and it kind of sent us in this financial frenzy where I didn't know whether I was kind of coming or going. And I looked at real estate as the opportunity to get me out of the Social Security office, off the food stamps, and to kind of really, catapult me into where I am today. I'm a top producer in my own right in real estate in and of itself. And then it was the investment side that kind of challenged me because I didn't know too much about it. I'm always up for new challenges. And it was just another level that I like to kind of gear towards myself. Additionally, my personality so matches a lot of investors as well, and I liked the quick close, where it was all about numbers and money, and that's kind of what drew me in as well.
That's awesome. I mean, it's good that we're actually having this conversation. For those in the audience who may be listening, who is a current licensed realtor. It just don't stop with the realtor license. You can transition and add some investments to your portfolio. I think that's very important. I had always wondered, I'm a licensed realtor also, and more so an investor, but I had always wondered, since realtors have access to so much data, so much information on the absorption rates, the markets, how is declining, how is increasing, what's selling, often what is holding them back from becoming an investor. And this is really good because I know we have a lot of people in our audience that are realtors who are trying to get to the investment side, or they're fearful. They're just used to staying with what they know, and they're not willing to step out and challenge themselves. So how did you get over that fear and step out and challenge yourself to go and invest in a multifamily property?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. As the fear factor is kind of what comes into play. As realtors, we're almost like that paycheck employee where we wait for the commission and we know we've already spent the commission check before it's even in our pocket. So, Robert Kiyosaki's, cash flow quadrant, in order for us to be really wealthy, we have to move into the right side of the quadrant and really become business owners and investors. As realtors, a lot of us are still that stealth employee, that 1099, almost paycheck-like employee. And it takes a different shift mindset for us to move over onto the other side and treat real estate as a business. So what I did was really kind of brand myself that I'm the CEO of my own brand and business. And a lot of realtors don't do it. They just see it as transactional, I believe, as opposed to seeing bigger pictures. What kind of made me move to the right side of the quadrant was, I think, just kind of getting ahead and seeing how, and I want to say a lot more men were investors at the time that were around me, and I'm like, how are these guys like able to do this? I know I have what's in my pocket and what's in my bank account, but these are big transactions, and I don't see how I couldn't make any sense of it. And I started asking more and more questions about it, and really getting involved in that side of it, and then almost becoming like project management in their own developments, because I realized they needed that woman's side to kind of see what's going to sell and what's going to work in the kitchen and what's not. Like, for instance, as a woman, we want to be able to take the dishes from the sink to the dishwasher without dripping across the floor. A lot of men don't think that way, and it would be like from the island to the other side. So for the project management side, I kind of liked as well. And then I was able to kind of get an opportunity that I'm so grateful for, from an investor who really saw my potential when I didn't even see it myself, and just kind of took me on his projects and said, just listen to me, follow me, and we're going to make money.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's really a good match made in heaven, right? When you actually can meet someone who can kind of show you the ropes, and you can shadow them and learn a business. That's really, really how you learn. That's how I learned. I shadowed a cousin of mine when I first got into real estate for a few months, and then, went on my own and did a couple of deals. So it's very important to have like that mentor, that person you're shadowing, to kind of show you the mistakes they made, or shortcuts, not shortcuts that will harm you, but shortcuts to keep you from making those mistakes. So let's transition a little bit. You said you came into the space 8 years ago. You haven't been market cycle tested yet. I've been doing real estate for 20 years. I went through the 2008, went through 9/11 and all of that. Now with the current COVID-19, how is that affecting your business as a realtor? And let's talk about your marketplace. Let me just back up and let the audience know, what marketplace do you service?
Yeah, so I'm in primarily Nassau County and Queens, on Long Island. Queens is obviously a borough of New York City. I would say 70% of my business in Nassau and the other 30 in Queens. So I'm, 45 minutes from New York City. So our market is really good, has always held strong. I chose to stay in the zip code or the market that I grew up in, because that's where all my relationships were. And, about 70% of my business actually still comes from relationships now. I haven't been through the cycle, but how is this affecting my real estate business? I have to be honest, it's not. I was able to, I had to change a few things, don't get me wrong, too, because, first we were essential, then we weren't, and now we're still not as essential, but we're able to do some realtor tasks that are virtual. And that's what I did. I shifted my business to a virtual business where I'm able to list and sell virtually. And I'm offering selling programs for sellers, agents who didn't have who weren't able to kind of shift and see changes that were happening. I was able to take advantage of those opportunities. Homeowners who wanted to sell their property and needed to. It was really need-based, not just I'm going to try to sell my home and try to get the most money. It was need-based, where they were moving, had plans already set up down south for them to move. So I was able to offer a program and take advantage. Throughout these 5 weeks, I've listed 6 homes and put 3 in contract.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, is that because of the motivated sellers looking for liquidity and their price right, and they're going?
There's one thing that I definitely explained, that if you're going to move the property, we have to price it at market price. Don't even think about, taking advantage or testing the market in a 90 days kind of scenario, because that's not happening, because the people that need to sell want to sell. And if you want to get the most money at this time, buyers are going to see this as an opportunity that they may be able to steal something from you. So price it right and move the property and take the next phase in your life and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's now that they're opening stuff up in phases, and New York was hit the hardest. So you would think with all the media coverage and everything else that New York is just saying doom and gloom, that they shut down everything. So with the virtual tours that you're doing, you're saying that allowed you still to be able to, show the people virtually the listings and, do DocuSign and under contract and everything else and get it to attorney review. But there's still title companies. I mean, it's still moving forward, but we're experiencing some issues with the searchers are not in the Hall of Records because they're closed. Inspections are not happening from the township for COs because of they don't want to come in a home where people are living because of COVID. So we're experiencing slower closings,
Right.
And a lot of title companies are not set up to close virtually. They still want original signatures. So, we're experiencing some of that in New Jersey. And I was just wondering, on that end, how was the market going? I know stuff that was already in the pipeline, came to fruition and closed, but new deals, you just mentioned that you were able to list 6 and put 3 under contract. So I guess we'll see the next coming weeks when New York open up June 1st or whatever date they have slated, how that would play out.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see what's going to happen here. The stuff in the pipeline, honestly, is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. I'm like, we're already in the mix here. What's the holdup? We do have that executive order now that, everything can be signed virtually, DocuSign, things like that. So that has played out. But the new stuff, I'll be honest, is I'm seeing some little slow up, but not much. I wouldn't say it's like, going to be like 90 days here for us to kind of close. I'm still thinking it's going to be 60. So it's a good question that I think we're all going to have to wait and see. I am just surprised at the lag, knowing that the time that we are in, meaning the lag and people of kind of getting on board, like this was kind of new to them, playing with Zoom and DocuSign and things of that nature. That has been the most surprising to me. Like, how come you haven't been a paperless agent before this?
Yeah, that's a great point you made. I mean, it really probably increased the skills of a lot of realtors who had no choice but to go to learn how to do what they were supposed to do. I mean, there's still a lot of people do it the old school way, paper and sign contracts, go to the house and, make a presentation and bring all the documents and everything else. Because there's still a lot of older people who want to list properties who are not computer savvy as well. So you definitely need to, account for those guys. I actually have a question for you related to wholesalers, right? Wholesalers versus realtors. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So I have, on this podcast, I interview a lot of people, real estate investors, people who's been in the business for 10, 15, 20 years. And I've interviewed lately a lot of wholesalers who are dominating the market with direct to seller, lead generations and everything else. And there's a lot of bad publicity out for wholesalers. And these guys I know, they're straight up good businessmen. They help a lot of people. They get fair pricing. How does that affect your market as far as you not being able to get that lead? Do you work with a few wholesalers? Let's talk about that a little bit. That's a big business.
Have they hurt? I don't believe that they have. I think there's enough real estate to go around for everyone. It's kind of my philosophy, because if I get hung up on someone else, I'll call it stealing for lack of better words right now, or taking a piece of the pie, then more power to them. Honestly, I think that makes me stronger to kind of go out and do what I need to do. I think, I'm not sure if the wholesalers have got a bad rap. I think it's more of the real estate agents who have gotten the bad rap, to be honest, because, we're not seen as valued in many instances. And I think the profession in and of itself has maybe shifted as well, because agents are not providing value to their clients. So I think that homeowner kind of sees, well, why should I pay an agent a commission when I can do this really quickly with someone else, and it'll be just like any other transaction, especially, you know, in a cash, obviously, situation. I definitely work with wholesalers. I believe in having my dirty dozen, my attorney, title, you know, a wholesaler, an investor, you know, to keep on board and to keep me in the loop, so that I could help them as much as they can help me too, because they're going to be calling me like, what are the comps? What do you think the comps are? You know, everyone always kind of second guesses themselves, even as me. I'm the realtor and investor, and I'm like, what do you think this property could sell for? You know, you always want that kind of comfort and second opinion. So working with them has honestly has boosted my relationships with
awesome.
investors who fix and flip, or fix and hold, for that matter. Because if I'm able to, you know, speak with a wholesaler and I can kind of market it to 10 other investors who they don't have relationships with, then it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm in mastermind groups with these guys, and these guys are doing, I don't know, 200-300 transactions a year at the minimum, and it just blow my mind away, because I never really looked at wholesaling as a really viable, profitable market. I always thought it was a totem pole situation, but you know, a few years ago, I had a chance to sit down with some guys who's really big in the business across the you know, U.S., and open my eyes up to that. And I'm like, wow, I need to add this part into my business, you know, lead gen and whatever's not in my buy box, you know, wholesale it out. So we're actually building out that division now to take advantage of that, and be able to, you know, service other investors that want deals as well, and help realtors, you know, do what they need to do with those stuff that we can't, that's not in our buy box. Then a realtor would get it and just list it. We'll just refer it over to a realtor and pretty much go from there.
I'm in a market where there's a lot of cash end users as well. So that's where kind of I may come into play too.
So your primary the research you're doing on properties for investors, is it just single family, multifamily, rental stuff, a mixture of everything?
I would say so. Primarily single family. I deal with a lot more fix and flip and fix and hold investors on single families. We don't have, I'll be honest, we don't have too many multifamilies in Nassau County. It's more of a Queens and Brooklyn kind of thing. So I would say more single family. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And then for your sales, like, are you able to find, because a lot of the realtors that I work with, you know, they'll find me a listing and then I'll renovate it, and then, you know, I'll buy it from them, they'll earn a commission at, and then I'll list it with them again.
Right.
So they get a chance to double dip and pretty much go from there. So I definitely take care of my realtors, you know, when they do that. When they
I don't like that double dip word. It's hurting our commission.
Oh yeah. The real estate commission might not like that. All right. Well, we'll edit that part out.
I just believe in, you know, I'm helping you. Okay, I'm getting you what you want, so that you can obviously make what you need to make and what your spreads are. It's only right that you give me the listing back. I think it's a relationship thing, and you want to be able to make everyone comfortable in it. So, you know, if you don't think I'm a good marketer in getting the property sold, then maybe it might make sense. But I think if you want to build a relationship with that investor and that realtor, that's the best way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely thank you for coming on and sharing, you know, your words of wisdom. We have Jennifer Seeno Tucker, the Rockstar Real Estate Agent. She also has a book, Become a Rockstar Real Estate Agent: 7 Steps to make was that $100 a year?
$100K
a year.
Hey,
I'm just teasing you.
It's a good book for, you know, realtors who maybe are feeling stagnant in the business and or maybe struggling get to that top producer kind of number, $100K a year, because it is a significant number that really kind of, you know, is kind of a way for you to just keep going and keep your business going. If you keep the skills and the business mentality and use the best practices that I teach in the book, that you're just going to keep growing and growing.
Awesome. You can also check out a Facebook page at Seeno Tucker. And also you have a website, realtorsuccesstraining.com.
Yeah, so anyone in your audience, if they'd like to download a copy of my book, Become a Rockstar Real Estate Agent, you can download the book for free at realtorsuccesstraining.com.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you also have a website, Real Estate Rockstar Agent, the numeral 1.com, right?
Yeah, www.rockstaragent1.com.
All right, got it. Thanks again for coming on the show. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal, a passion for real estate investments. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the other places where you find good podcasts. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, Jennifer. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. Have a great one.